My name is Cody Reid. You might have heard whispers about me in Briarwood's gas stations or the bumper-stickered booths at the diner where folks line up for truck stop coffee. 18, Southern-born, raised in a house with cracked porches and deeper secrets. My dad was a mechanic with grease under his nails and a temper brewing behind his eyes, and my mom was a schoolteacher who wore perfume to mask the smell of regret when she kissed him goodnight. They didn't touch after his DUI in 7. My life before the fire was a looping pickup truck commercial, dirt roads, Friday night football, and a girl named Lara who crushed my ribs with her hugs. I was a boxer in the gym and a ghost at school, quiet enough to slip through crowds like cold air under a door, but when Lara laughed, I swear the world paused. We didn't have a lot, my dad's job, her mom's waitress shifts, our stupid young love, but we had enough. That's how it works, ain't it? You get used to the warm in your chest so you don't notice the shadows creeping in. Liam said he'd keep an eye on her when I had to sparring matches after church on Wednesdays. Liam, my brother of the road, childhood shadow, the one who taught me how to throw a punch when bullies made me taste blood at 12. He was thicker than family, thicker than the truth, I guess. She kissed him one night behind the bleachers while I was icing my knuckles in the locker room. There's no real sound when the thing you love cracks. Just a sigh. By spring break, they were painting their mess on every streetlight post and four-way stop. They clung to each other like rattlesnakes swaying in the dust. I kept training, hit the bag until my knuckles split, watching her Instagram updates of him grinning under neon bar lights or wasting money on cheap tequila. Their fights were louder than fireworks, sometimes so loud the local cops paced past my window to check noise complaints. He broke her car window. She gave him stitches. They kept getting pulled back, 2 magnets with poisoned poles. I kept quiet, let the pity roll off me like oil on water. But the worst wasn't them. The worst was the circle, the others. The idiots who'd shared detention with me, eaten my mom's banana bread, called me kid back when that name didn't taste like dirt. They used to sit at my lunch table, but suddenly they were orbiting Liam like he'd discovered sunlight. At prom, Jenna, who danced with me 3 times back in middle school, told me to stop hovering blends off her birthdays and group chats, obviously. They laughed into their soda cans, eyes flicking to Liam's smiling face. I remember the dressing room in JCPenney's where I'd first gotten sized for a pinstripe suit I could barely button. Felt stupid then. Dressed for someone else's dinner party. That's what their circle turned me into. Orson's cold smile next time he saw me was worse than the crack of a bat. You don't notice the acid of jealousy until you're choking on it. Tim back then talked about building his dream house out by Harps Creek. We desat swatting mosquitoes, drawing floor plans in the dirt with sticks. 4 bedrooms for his future kids, a garage that could hold 2 classics. He worked 2 jobs after 10th grade, swearing he'd have it done by graduation. Liam told him to shut up about it, said ain't nobody wants a house that looks like a fixer-upper on TV when they can just crash at mine. But Tim persisted, sneakers worn thin, body swallowing afternoons like grief. Meanwhile, their love story was a car crash. Lara gained 10 pounds and started photoshopping her cheeks red like someone pinched her. Liam's truck got repossessed twice. He owed money to half the town. They blamed me, though, not for the repossession, but for not helping. As if I owed them baling wire and forgiveness for every mistake they made. One night, I saw Lara crying outside the corner store, hair matted like seaweed, an empty wine bottle swinging from her fist. She hissed, "You could have stopped this," but didn't say it to my face, just to my reflection in the glass door. I walked past her like she was smoke. Tim's plans folded faster. He borrowed tools with a smile he used to save for girls and got his guys to help demo an all-barn. They hired Zombie line. Com crew tipped in beer because he said working together would make the memories stick. Half his friends bilayed when the sweat got real, started calling his project handmade hell. When the keystone caved, Cam broke his ankle. When the wiring caught fire, Daisy's eyebrows got scorched. They screamed at each other over wood piles like wild dogs. The foundation cracked like a promise. And me, I kept winning at the gym, state title, college recruiter. New chances stitched into my gloves, started saving up. I swore I'd move out west when I turned 19, new name and all, but I learned revenge ain't pretty. Ask Cam lately. She works at Dollar General, counts expired dates like they're Hail Marys. Orson got caught shoplifting during the blackout last July. Liam drives for Uber. Lara went back to her daddy's trailer, mouth full of meth holes and conspiracy theories. Tim's house, it died by winter. They raised it flat after he tried to light the bones on fire. I didn't do nothing, just kept moving, kept winning. But when I passed them in Walmart aisles, I saw it all. Their teeth ground down, their shoulders hunched, the way their shadows didn't match anymore. Still hurts, though, knowing the girl you laid your heart like tile in the mud now texts you apologetic drunk emoji at 2 a.m. Knowing your friends from childhood stranger-dad you into charity donations posted at midnight. I brooded alone. Smoked Camel lights under briar pines and pretended the smoke was their voices fading. Practiced footwork. Laughed at her Dairy Queen job postings. But then that town hall meeting, you know the one, April 5th, town budget votes. I was 17 then, sitting in the audience when Tim stood up. His cheeks were gaunt, same color as the coffee they served in the initial disposable cups. He jacked up his shoulders and said I benefited from Briarwood's best resources. The boxing program, the youth grants, the ROTC leaders who offered me free passes. He called it hoarding. Said I didn't give anything back, not even my lunch face to their circle anymore. That lack of gratitude built my freedom into a prison for everyone else. He meant to humble me. Instead, he opened floodgates. Orson posted the clip, my stunned face next to Tim's clenched jaw. Lara commented, Cody always had a smug walk, didn't he? Even Cam commented a single broken smile emoji. The video spread. My potential scholarships cracked open like eggshells. Some online forum dubbed it the Briarwood boxer, spoiled success and selfish ties, and added Bible verses like, quote, balloons. That's when the quiet inside squashed. I went to a hacker forum, posted Liam's number. Said he stole a fire truck, didn't matter what. I used someone's stolen Amazon account to ship fecal-colored paint to their house. I wrote letters to his landlord pretending to be the tint of a government agency. I called Lara's work, said she had a warrant, but it didn't stick. Liam got his truck through a car lot pawn of parts from his cousin. Lara kept her job by convincing her manager it was just telemarketing. Orson deleted his posts but uploaded a SlideShare apology on Instagram anyway, claiming empathy and personal growth. I wasn't a ghost anymore, just the guy who tripped trying to scorch their name. Real problem, it made me reckless. I showed up bright and early at their barn demolition crew barbecue. The fire crackled and all eyes turned on me when I asked Tim, loud enough for the county coroner to hear, if his gout came from a bartending job or guilt. He threw his charcoal suitcase at me. I ducked. It hit Cam's car windshield. We all watched it spiderweb, lost points in the ring the next week. Overstepped passes, sloppy footwork, that rage in my arms making my throws wild. Coach said, you're not King Kong. Anger's a tool, not a phenotype. Control it or get owned by it. Even worse, Lara started blowing up my voicemail again. Please call back soon. We both missed something, I think. Last chance to fix us. You deserve to be thanked, maybe? Some nights I did call, just to hear her old laugh, I guess. But after I left the message asking, remember when I taught you to shoot 3-pointers? And paused for 2 heartbeats, someone leaked the text. Starts with L-I-R bully caps lock stalking through the threads. Friends stitching my words to their victim stories. A photo cropped from 6th grade surface. My dad yanking me back from Liam's fist because of a candy bar fight. Caption in Crayola, bully in training. Now I fake conversations with people I never met, plot fake goals, big enough for the chatroom wolves to gnash. I replay their breakdowns inside my head like muscle memory. Use my empty text box and hollow grocery list reminders to plot comebacks, paranoid splits of plans, names circled in pen, burn marks on maps I'll never use. But it's not enough. They're all at the bar tonight, probably, celebrating their nothing with sweet tea and bullets of frosting. Watching me sit outside makes M chuckle like hyenas. Contagious judgment. They keep waiting for me to break. Too bad revenge ain't a quarter moon. It's a sinkhole. One breath at a time, I'm willing them into the dark. The only problem, sometimes I see my dad in the mirror. Same way he looked when the vet wouldn't start. Thin lips and a larger rage. I wake up smiling sometimes, not cause I won, not cause they lost, but cause I finally know what's coming next, and I'm all right with wrapping their names in the same dirt they left me choking in. Until then, I'll eat pancakes at Great B with my headphones on. I'll let their invites pile into spam. And I'll wait where they can't ignore me, where practices smell like worth and ambition wears my gloves. That crack in Tim's voice that night at town hall, I heard it under a stack of grudges. It'll echo harder when I'm done. If you find this notebook, write me down not rising, but rising a step behind their bliss. Unforgiving, invisible, focused, their circles unraveling. I seen the rats circling, but now I'm not sure I can wait for fate. I think I'll start helping the storm to blow. I was always built for speed, not silence. The first time I recognized my own venom was the night I set Liam's clipboard on fire. The one he kept by his Uber driver's seat. Passenger complaints, fake starvation scratchings scrawled in pencil like code. I'd slipped into his truck during the bar's Baccali keggers where he and Lara still slouched like royalty in exile. The fire caught unevenly, title registration curling gray before someone's beer splashed it out. He drove straight to the station the next morning, voice cracking like drywall as he claimed it was known gang activity. A cop scratched his beard and asked, "Ain't you the former Mr. Passion flea market poster boy?" I grinned into my coffee, then froze when their cops quad squad came knocking at my door 3 days later, official document in hand, court summons for harassment and arson. My mom signed it in blue pen because my dad was still reeling from his own second DUI. Her lipstick left a smudge on page 3. "Why key his door," she whispered, "when you were supposed to be better?" I didn't tell her the truth, not the part about how I'd lifted his spare Uber app code from the co-ed mothers group she'd told me to recycle in the diner's cleanse bins. That fire didn't matter anyway. The real damage came a week later when 6 anonymous transfers started sending cash to Lara's Venmo, labeled Vacation Fund, SHEDSERVEDA chance. I didn't do it. But the circle did, slowly stitching her back to their crooked spine. She began posting again. Glossy selfies with Tim, his fingers wrapped around her shoulder bones like he was measuring progress. My fake text chains dissolved. The scribbled blueprints I'd kept under my couch were gone by Tuesday. Orson had sent a drone to capture footage of something illegal like a mole perched at my window, zoom lenses wallowing through my trash bags. By noon, Cam was trending again. A fractured ankle, the barn fire, our 7th grade buddy system pledge, doomed to always be first. They branded me as the town's curious lunatic. The truth, I was never clever enough. Every move I made only polished their tragedy into something sweet. They started YouTube live streams where they wept about toxic masculine accommodation and tipping over tree stumps into higher soil. Lara described my revenge as simmering parallel parking across hashtags. I closeted myself that August. 500 squats, no gym, no voicemail checks. But then Daisy's daughter got hit by a train. 5th birthday. World owes me everything night. The engine crunched her pink Hello Kitty bike into confetti. I saw the Redbird blaze on the tracks but didn't move, too drawn by the fear of being repped as opportunistic bystander. When they dragged Daisy across conspiracy circles for blaming Cam's distracted tablet angles, I knew the real twin was guilt. The same kind Tim used to apologize at Cam's hospital burn unit, crowding the air with stunted revelations. I guess that's when I stopped questioning fate. I just started sharpening it. Briarwood annual harvest parade became my reset. Main Street coated in maple streamered floats selling firepenny caramel dipping. Tim worked tech crew this year, limbs stiff like half of him still boiled in the gut rot we had before. Liam wore a panda suit, driving tourists through the maples. Childhood trauma rip employees subtly chanting at his side window. Lara sold artisan hats near the pumpkin cider stall, her smile good again, lips fished red and flirting with a visiting journalist taking photos for Retro Midwest Lies magazine. I'd always hated passive-aggressive masks in crowds, but I walked straight into Liam's float line, arms aching without gloves. "They call you Huff God these days?" I asked once we locked eyes. His pupils beat like moth wings high on my presence, then motioned his passengers to silent solidarity. 10 minutes later, 3 cop cars spun up in front of Great B Diner where I waited for my transformation. Orson spilled my street address on TikTok, captioning, "Briarwood's washed veil of vengeance." That's when I tasted the first real child of anguish, being cuffed at pancake time for prior threats. Judge let me keep my underage cards, tagged it explosive scholar warning, but ordered rehab for bomber moods. The gym coughed me up like dust. Coach's ions shared airwaves with Stop Noticing My Morning Shadow. 3 weeks under big lights with psychological questionnaires and poker-faced mentors, and still nothing changed but my exit strategy. The night I broke out, Cam found me breaking into Tim's property. She extended a burger in one fist. "You pay for those," I stated. "Got fired last week," she shrugged. "Whole town S on some kind of streamed purge." We watched the stars wheel behind dead birch trees. She smelled like motor oil and apple slicker. "They told me you contratized my injury into a tax deduction." Her cheeks stone-carved into laughs. "Afternoons aged women should die for." I handed her my clipboard, the one I'd refilled since staying out west ended. "Every venom they used, my family's exhumed ghosts." She read how I'd plotted wheels slips, maintenance cheats, website glitch pays. "You should have skipped the sabotage," she murmured after a breath. "There's something worse than their hate, Cody. They forgot you live. They eat up their own stories like chess pieces. You're the only piece on the board." Cam lit the sheet midnight. Midst the flicker, she told me how Lara's new boyfriend ran a vaporizing app for dead-enders, converting customized palaces for 1,000-bit currency. How Liam's Uber payments were tracked to the candle lot across town, maybe not the meth head straight, but some kind of myth-making settlement for heroic counterfeits. "Counterfeits?" I asked. She handed me a hello script she'd cribbed from Tim's Mouth 1 blackout. "Analogs," she said. "Got a thing for broken covers." I stopped lacing up my fists that September, started lacing through facts instead. Cam led me to the candle lot, bleached skin warming at the jelly bean pizza we inhaled on the ride. They'd been funding lives off tiny riots, Liam setting up mirrors for driver-back fraud, Lara skimming her boyfriend's coin flips, Tim hiring key ghosts to inflate his barn-building website like numbers. The circle had built a fungus payment chain, a culture. Cam said they called it Trial Crowns. Me and Orson had to go Phase 3 or be forgot. My stomach bawled. "You already went Phase 3, she added. She handed me Orson's ledger, total scrawls masked to look like chili ratings but coded behind herbal themes. 10 names were listed under Orson, 2 were mine. Grindhouse attack at 17 sabotaged. The third ignite was Cam's face herself, her burned debts erased by a crowdsource cover Tim'd orchestrated. "You ever think," she asked while tracing the numbers, "they're using this revenge stuff like balloons, letting you gummy ballon the strings while they inflate?" Overhead, trash fires grew near the material yard outskirt. We didn't flinch. I saw my 7-year-old brother-of-the-road shadow planting sexist proflags at the raft of Liam's car aisle. Saw Lara's gelato giggles at the tech melt bash. The matter wasn't their survival. The matter was my sinkhole grin. In that ledger, Cam saw permanence. I saw tradition. My turning came in layers like school potatoes under gum wrappers. First, I tried Orson. Invited him for another laugh at Harps Creek, pretending I believed his hack job. "Listen," he smiled over hydraulic fries, "what's revenge without a headline?" Gifted him another amateur-sized voice-change-a-game plan. Woof him jester files asking about conflict of interest in Briarwood's youth grants. He ate the script whole while I edited his call for handicap footage. When the town's Facebook blew next week with accusations about Orson's fake highway charity funds, I almost tasted victory until Lara clicked the viral meeting link. Her testimony, sitting alone in front of the council, lips coated bold paint, declaring how she discovered her original poison mentor, Cody Reid's noxious hate mail. I turned her pain into my mirror. Second stunt collapsed harder than anticipation. Then came my daddy driving alone to pick me from the gym's dock. Since I didn't have a gym anymore, he parked in front of the decaying bus stop. Same he'd smoked an occasional light stick when the speed traps blew frank. He handed me a newspaper. Front page was Dawson Heron, the article's quotes etched in his actual pencil from a life lecture last year at Briarwood seminar. Dawson was my dead reality check, a minor poet turned ghost who'd written a revenge essay written entirely in upside-down font for a county project nobody loved. Liam's crew gave it cultred status. They syndicated his untitled poems under synth poverty legends that summer. My article's headline, Dawson HTL, VENGERNCESKERUTE te yeri how trained dreaming. Did your mom show you this kind of thing growing up? Dad's crusty voice hit like chewed toast. Nah, I replied. She had classes later to speak, I think. He warmed the gas pedal. Stopped asking questions after I saw his own DUI dates on a borrower's admission scan. Probably Cam leaked it for my monthly soil pull. But that night under bronze streetlights, he pushed slip of Tim's new roommate lease terms between two beers, daughter quoting cursive, "Please give it time to resonate." It didn't matter if he was trying to buy his last macaroon piece. It mattered that his blood could still chew nails. His eyes read straight decline. November was all paper and sweat. DNA of disaster. Cam's help showed jagged decline. We didn't work an actual tape screw anymore, just took turns reeling in the mail, invoices, throwaway texts, perm links to their absurd social media conferences. Trial crowns needed upgrades to what I'd started. Heavy stuff. Lara's vaporizing man was subnetted to tech for illegal polished cobalt mining, giving free downloads to Briarwood kids for spinner intake. The chunks of Tim's garage flash store had been turned into blackmail florals, giant disclaimers in hallway corridors. Liam's Uber route was every theft. Crowdsourced sales from bicycles to shoebox fortunes, his tint mirrored across untraceable tax lenses. The full weight of their transcendence taught me something low-key. Never get paid fog about revenge. Ghosts get louder when you feed them rope. I broke rules I made at 19. Inner Circle Corporation tantrums that boiled through town spilled quieter. Took over an Articlean account, Cam said played soccer with Truth Borders. Posted childhood memories as bedtime stories. Not the fake ones about Friday night Deramask rituals, but the unembellished ones. Liam regifting my Christmas ornament in 10th grade, Tim copying our shop teacher's barcode help to post our Woods project score online one summer. Lara uploading our school chorus handshake music to parade markets as LGBTQ symbol age music for showers. They never looked straight. They shouted incremental injustices. Funny how Lamberts paralleled my dad's old horse or something, but their limbos held higher than my own. Cam leaked Tim's laptop pattern to her detention lineup online, showed his gunshot montages he liked compiling late night, the type on a Wednesday or social studies break. When Lara's vanishing paycheck discrepancies pinged the inquiry circle on Duskcat, I realized my strategy was flattening. They were one hair swap away from the financial board. Our final interview week, Fate's ladder helped mythologize my exit. We surrounded him at Big Buck's nightlight. Back corner tables been cleared with employee rug isolites. Tim draped in a beanie, knees shaking like they owned a say. He brought Cam's fresh divorce statement, Orson his hot metals transwap, Lara dressed so thin she looked like a Crush headline, Liam with a stale beat of success since he'd been Uber promoted to white space cleaning, something he cranked up claiming urban legends in pharmacy extermination. I walked in pushing a Segway I'd jacked from the Walmart mobility sale, HUD footage blinking out from side-load cameras, while Tim updated his wife skimming her sister's death holding. "Here's your echo," I spit once HUD footage looped my town hall disgrace. "Here's my future aerials of you burning a life halfway across superstitions." Lara actually laughed, then whispered something about experimental lighting I'd guess was viral ammo. Tim's voice cracked into his old weekend warehouse cadence. "Dawson said revenge is like a lentil, squashes if you don't boil its gyroscope." I uploaded photos of his house cracking midwinters that next Sunday. Authored them through his trash logs, annotated their Instagram videos, screenshots froze smoky moments where his students suddenly ceased Webelo's bros the internet transitioned sticky as peanut butter. Some college clickbait scooped it onto corporate Psalm, Tim's listed background. Cam agreed to stage Flints over Facebook forums with pretend suspicion nods. But all I heard was Dawson's voice, that laminated heartburn in face mold lockers asking, "If your love turns garbage, who's filthier, the sender or the listener?" I let the fire keep growing. I let the vandalism rise until I stood toe-to-toe outside our reunion at the chapel contact line. "How's the guilt?" I wheezed while the press crowd units closed. Liam didn't answer. Lara smirked, tongue catching improper dirt. Tim finally looked me straight, said, "We never trained you to hunt echoes, just to breathe without one." That's when I filed the real thing. Last edit, 0500 AM hard drive lighter. Thinking through legal war copies, thinking through microchips, thinking through bigger doors. I think my revenge just learned to walk backward. I filed the real thing and everything dissolved like potassium in rain. The town council's inbox molten, Orson's ledger bioluminescence unless you print it backward. I handed them a comma-minute breakdown of trial crowns, how Liam's Yuba mirrored pickup bot pairs, Lara's vaporizer boyfriend pinching identity codes into rental plantations, Tim's expanded guest rooms in tax bonanza. All wrapped in camcorder finds Cam and I smuggled in during napalm nights. The council didn't applaud. They hissed that we played God through artisanal spreadsheets. Tim's voice, flatline storage 3 weeks under ICU, dripped methane from the media. Cody's just iterated the trauma loop, he gasped while oxygen tubes snaked his ears. Indemnification through orgasmic coding. They turned my plunder into social gospel. Cam's divorce bank loaded next to my gym custody. That's when I realized the vengeance wasn't gasoline anymore. It was antifreeze. The final confrontation occurred without stairs. We stood outside Briarwood Harvest Enterprises, the new Finstripe building Lara now fronted, its glass walls clear enough to see her initiating a customer as himself again, sleek black suit wrappings for abused tech connectors. I wore the original jester mask molded by Liam's analgesic grease swabs, gloves stained with the same cyanide chaff that scorched Cam's burn unit origin. Tim had come carrying fire certs signed by his own suicide source. "You wanted worship," he spat, "not justice." His laptop eviscerated. Quarterly yearbook growths where Briarwood's youth had rebuilt fossil data, scalps flaring behind their corneas. I never used the Segway. It exploded by the curb when Orson's SBL friends arrived. Real-time equations of my street presence broadcasted via jogger netbins. The cops knew. They downloaded my podcast episodes where I pasted kimchi cameos over Dawson's upside-down prose. They waited with buttery tolerance. Let me drain my words until sweat soaked their commandos' shoes before snapping the cuffs. But then the camera arrived, a 3-axis drone with rotor blades stitched like piano wire, Cam's hands naturally. She descended the middle rooftop like she'd always been executioner and librarian both. Dead birds recorded the parade. Rats scribbled trial run totals. The drone dumped archives straight into Briarwood's police network. Tim's montage. Liam's fake trip slip extended to school bus redirect. Lara's music market not just pirated but composited with auto-crystal software. My dad's DUI printed in tax installment shadows. The whole thing popped like a bile bag. Inside the council chamber, my mom's variation came sideways. Not lipstick prolicide, but bodycam freezes of her rescuing Tim from ditch when her ex-market jobmate's DUI Humvee crushed his fake knee. Lara fell first. Trails built live program onward. Liam's breakdown caught Lunar. He named himself a hobby clone, hollow as the mirrored extensions he'd pocketed fabricating child safety tags. Tim clutched Bibles of his charges, faceless teens compiled under his Rebuilding America's Foundling Mesh LLC, then relented his mirage. "When did your revenge become your career?" Cam snarled it into the drone core, versions later Zoomtuber's Dixieland. By March, Briarwood rinsed their brands in public soap. Tim landed at the nail salon scrub you integer. Lara's boyfriend annihilated, crushed under ceremonial debt pedals, the night internet ghost walked her court dictum. Liam slid into Meth Town. Cam, once the artful saboteur, reclaimed her flaming past by adopting Daisy, nursing chemical hiccups from a bulletproof solution. Me, I inherited the chalk warehouse, namped her on her bankrolling my backtrace hobby. Turns out validation ain't a fire. It's a wishbone chewed by volunteers that never saw the graffiti. I walked to Harps Creek alone some morning. Blood scum change app upthreaded karma in nearby soil. That time when 7th grade field trip doped our math scores overt, Lara hammering a melon puppet for bad boy commas, it was satire but suddenly felt sacrificial. Maybe we were all just passenger extensions, adjusting shade despite the solar alliteration. My closure arrived via a Google DUR Chinese letter, Te Yel Yeri Enoge, or Chinese letter, 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 Chinese letter. I walked to Hops Creek alone some mornings. Blood scum change app upthreaded karma in nearby soil. That time when 7th grade field trip doped our math scores overt, Lara hammering a melon puppet for bad boy commas, it was satire but suddenly felt sacrificial. Maybe we were all just passenger extensions, adjusting shade despite the solar alliteration. My closure arrived via a Google Drive invite. Trial recap, Spring 2027 cleanout. Inside, 12 sheaves on Dawson Heron's original math, photoshopped essays where my battles found their Breath Stonehouse matches, caught in infinite regression like ads auto-refreshing on a sticky browser tab. KD Hamilton Reality Warp Audit TM. They even uploaded my breakfast video breakdown, the usual toast configuration spreadsheet Cam and I curated shortly after I broke rehab, reverse Loki spelunking as software diagnostics. I clicked once waiting for the setup, not decryption, just response protocol. A prompt asking me how to hell's hail radius I'd fund the next entropy flip if Cam had horizontalized all our policies. Then I saw the subject line. Explain your false prophets, you lean, SMARTASS. Revenge isn't a circle, it's a glacier. It recedes, but only after your fingernails dissolve over 10 millennia. That's the secret Dawson never flipped upside down. The group's got a code, but it's so Hebrew Kuf Hebrew Lamed. Quizpure so biopsy prison that once you start you become the combustion chamber to their oxygen pit. They did to me what I did to them, doubling down. A handed baton, a body count loan. The irony, at 23 I'm refund goals officer. 9th floor, County Hall 4, reinstalling official minds. We're using Tim's failed code.bin, breaking it into digital crime trinket shareware for people who still think melting a clipboard means change. Lara's still the Midwest 3-burn surrogate influencer. Liam's adjusting meth rehab with other failing Uber magnates. Cam sheltered Daisy's daughter in explosion, traced the Hello Kitty geometry into serious park dedications in Keene this spring. And me, we use jester masks. Let the ingrate kids pick their justice. Just call me the Kevlar mirror. Something they face all the way out. Don't hate. My office keeps midnight fireworks locked in storage. You want to ignite your calcified spite, work the project tank, ignore our school chorus leftover dissonance. Every year 5th graders slaughter the duet, but no one ever mentions how much peace couples entwine before triggering soft Wakefields. Revenge reduces you, then it modifies you, leaves ASCII in your teeth. Last night I fed Cam an actual smile, shared a electric bike ride. Exchanged 8 reparations of pigeons into donor chains, have pork rewrite their reg codes. We didn't discuss the time I explicated her scars into poems or the floral invoice when she fanned my teeth inside that training gym. We watched the drone set ladder decals across Briarwood's Bijou district like apocalyptic streetlights. When Cam asked why I'd haunted the Harvest Revival again under permit alias Sheets, I just said, "You ever watch sulfur grow wheat?" She nodded, hair spun corrugated opal 2025. Well, I'm growing dread. You call it wheat. Your bleeding's pretty. I let that melt. No need for extra Frisco rebound metaphors. Some echoes flatten your voice only to give them substance. Later, under stars licking trails of old Venmo ghosts into ash, Cam mentioned she found a child who chows her name through a floss industry slot machine. Boy, Ada Proto-string makes memes from fighting crowd, she said, eyes flaring. He's growing grudge bigger than your broadcast clean. I offered her a dessert clip so honey stained her incisors, told her when people stopped blaming wheat, maybe sulfur would finally thank them free-range downpour. She could have hit me, maybe read the subtext in my sweating. We just watched the last remnants of our rash float above Briarwood like immolate cherubs on eventide. Maybe the cutting-edge truth is this, we were never shooting at them. Maybe the revenge was always the detonator we lent ourselves through every Matchbox repertoire. Maybe when I saw 7-year-old myself futzing the bike flags in his own sleep, nostalgia wasn't the issue. That was combustion. Maybe nobody escapes this cycle unless grief stay out liquidates the question. Maybe I mangave Dawson's rainstroke poem when my mouth rehearsed it backward after 10 lines penned quitting my own dirt. All I know is the day the ice rink finally flamed offline, I threw my UX balloon into the magma, then flowed Anake sidewalk straight whispers past Amoeba Minute where Lara once sold roofstock receivers. No gang was there, no countdown, no triplet flicker inside every opossum's gaze, just the bleach-showed shell of Briarwood settling like expired sugar, make the noise you want. No one's holding your CD pack anymore if you really think chaos speedfolds into honeyed arcades. Vengeance doesn't die. It gets rekeyed for winter use, organic as Northpaw algorithms. Be selfish with your parade barrels or forget the incident's matching fire. That day with Cam I was clean-handed, not forgiven, just recuffed, serially uncorrupted. As we stared into the Media Beast script that solved our outcome, I realized Briarwood never needed villains, just someone to annotate nostalgia until the photos burn differently, the points burning everywhere except you face. To this day, the people still send me fake apologies through trial apps who harvest your dread for work and posturing. Today is Tuesday. Someone woke up feeling the real shape of my dark. Tomorrow someone else melts. It's not poetic, it's not numbing, it's weather. So when they ask, yes, we professionalized our poison. Yes, the trees never forgive our names from roots. Yes, some kids still chant my crybudge in gameplay eves. Yes, Cam started a petting zoo for serial arson hares, but the revenge is resting now, on a pergola somewhere between derailments. The kind that breathes underneath you tongue until you realize it was never your enemy you trained, just your reflection, layered through other screaming. Let the next serialist cycle it. Let them sue the banks for lava. I'm off cycle. Punishing reply instead. 2 burgers a day, and a backwards dog which needs no translation. Hell, even echoes pass only if everyone's willing to starve their kings. I became what they needed, their own inward tumble-checking. And right now the park's at a slow cape of Main Street's tenderness. The trees feel silent in reverse. We fed them everything. They're still letting me undermine, so I will, with you listening or without forever.